More and more people are outside telling you that you need to be grateful for what you've got, that you would be much happier. Meanwhile, you're not at all grateful and you're trying to figure out, did you miss something or is it them who've gotten the plot all mixed up? So, in this conversation, we're going to be discussing number one, what gratefulness is, number two, why people feel away when you don't express that gratitude, and number three, how we can go ahead and be the villain anyway, right after the intro. And welcome back to another episode of the Daily Donna with me, your host, Dr. Donna Oriolo, sex and relationship therapist in the Washington, D.C. metro area, and author of Drink Water and Mind Your Business, a Black woman's guide to unlearning the BS and healing self-esteem. Now, I told you that we was about to have us what? A conversation about this gratefulness, because I don't know about you, but it feels like there are more people having this underlying of, well, if you don't like it, then you can leave, or if you don't like it, then I won't give you anything. Grr, you're so ungrateful. And I feel like it's really a conversation that is going on, particularly with usually the incels. Like, you should just be grateful that somebody likes you and that somebody would want to marry you, even though they don't have anything else to offer other than their dirty drawers for you to clean. But I digress. So we're talking a little bit more about gratefulness and why some of you have found yourself as an affront. But first, we got to get a little OD with it. That means we need to operationally define our terms. So what does it actually mean to be grateful? Let me go ahead and pull up this definition real quick. Now, according to Merriam-Webster's, grateful is an adjective and it means appreciative of benefits received, feeling or showing thanks, expressing gratitude, affording pleasure or contentment, pleasing by reason of comfort supplied or discomfort alleviated. I feel comfortable. I feel grateful that you did this thing which made my day easier. I feel grateful that you did this thing that brought me a sense of pleasure, peace, happiness, sanity, da 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 da. Grateful. Now, some of y'all low-key, high-key be giving people stuff and they don't feel grateful and you feel some type of way. And I start to have questions, right? It's one of those things that come up often in the therapy room between my couples. Like, I did this thing for my wife and they're so ungrateful. I did this thing for my partner and they feel so ungrateful. Or I feel like they're ungrateful. One of the ones where I felt like it was such a beautiful conversation there for a while was parents getting their child a car from 1995. And this was like maybe within the last 5 years, getting a car from 1995. And the child was upset because that's not what she asked for. And they made it seem like they were going to buy her the car that she asked for and instead said, "You are so ungrateful." If we're going by the definition, he did not alleviate the pain, which means that maybe they didn't have room to be grateful. Let's actually talk a little bit about number two. Why do people feel a way when you are not performing of the gratefulness? People aren't always performing, they're not happy that you're not performing the gratefulness because the gesture that they did wasn't for you. You have mistakenly placed yourself in the space of believing that the gesture performed, the buying of the thing, the making of the breakfast, the doing of the laundry, whatever task or thing that was performed, you thought it was for you. No, it may be for you, but it's not about you. And sometimes you have to know the difference so that you don't find yourself in a position where someone is calling you ungrateful, or when they're perceiving you as ungrateful and you're just like, but I thought this thing was for me. It's not about you. So how do we do that? We can do that with the who, what, when, where, whys of it all. Really what we need is the who, the what, and the why. So the who is this thing for? That is a question that oftentimes we're needing to ask. To thank Erica Hart for this one, because it's one of those questions that they asked back in, I'd like to say in the 2020s, when the people were the white folks were coming around to the idea of Black Lives Matter and to that entire movement. And it was, well, who is this for? That was a question that was asked, and a question that bears repeating as you continue to see things. Who is this thing for? Who is the primary beneficiary of this thing? Because a lot of times you're thinking that the only answer to who is these eggs for is the person that you're giving the eggs to, when in reality it could also be in service to the ego of the person who made the eggs. So then it's not about you, the person receiving the thing. It is actually about the person who gave the thing. It's sort of the same way that people will say that, like, well, we gave white folk who were still very much entrenched in Southern politics that require slavery in order for their society to run. Like, well, we gave you your freedom. You should be grateful. My freedom was always mine. You stole it. I can't be grateful for what you returned to me that is mine to have. You get what I'm saying? Right? So it's kind of like, who is it for? Is it for the person or is it for your ego? The second question there is, what is the thing that they have actually done, right? Like, was it a gift? Was it a service? Was it a return of something that was already yours? So did the thing actually alleviate something for you? Was this thing done? Was the what that was done a thing that you wanted? A thing that you want, desire, requested, etc., etc., etc. And then you have the why here. Why did they do this thing, right? Was it love or care in action? So it is their love made actionable by them taking these particular steps? Or was it so that they can have a gotcha type of moment, right? Where they get to say that I do these things for you and you don't do these things for me. It is important for you to be able to differentiate this, because if you can understand why the person is feeling a way, and particularly what they did, why they did it, and who it was for, it can help you to alleviate, it can help you to set expectations. Because right now, sometimes we are running in here blind. So let me go ahead and read this little excerpt from Drink Water and Mind Your Business about being a valuable team player. The strength and underlying masculine view doesn't release Black women to a freedom of self-determination. Nah, the womanhood part still screams be of service. The womanhood and strength come together, making Black women someone whose job and desire it should be to labor for one's family, one's friends, to be giving and gracious to a fault, to work without question and without complaint, to give of oneself heartily and gladly, to think of oneself last, if ever, to be the strength of the family, the backbone of partners, the resting place for the weary, and the morality for all. These are the things that are said to be defining characteristics for women who want to be named as good and valuable. The type of women who have songs created for them, valuable in service to others. The idea around giving and giving and giving with no end without ceasing until one is dead. I think that we forget that even gratefulness, and that's on page 91 of the book, that even the act of performing gratefulness is a part of the service that lovers often require, because they have already in their minds done something that was so awesome and so great that you benefit from. It wasn't for you, it was for them, but you are the one that gets the thing that they have done, that they did for themselves, to be able to say how great they are to you. It is similar. This is something that you can see consistently repeated on the micro, meso, and macro levels of life, where someone requires your performance in order for them to feel like they are a good partner. So they can ignore what you said by not listening to you, by not giving you what you've actually asked for, by not performing the tasks and asks adequately, by using weaponized incompetence, or otherwise just deciding that they're not going to do the thing that you asked for, and instead making a decision for themselves to do something that is nowhere near what you have requested, and thus they have given to you without listening to you and require you to be of service in making them feel bigger and badder than what they are by performing gratitude. That is where a lot of people get it mixed up in the game. You thought the thing they did was for you, when really it was a way for them to further deflect that they weren't going to give you the thing that you asked for, because they had a service in mind that they would have preferred to perform. And so they did, which means that you not being grateful means that you are not playing the role and being in service to the story that they are telling, which is that they are a good partner or a good father, a good parent, a good whatever. They want to be seen as the one who is benevolent and who thinks of you and who likes you and who gives to you. And when you do not perform gratefulness, but are instead feeling upset or contrite or however it is that you're feeling in that moment because they gave you a bunch of crap that you did not want and that you did not ask for, they get to now lay the blame at your feet to say it is you who is ungrateful, that it is you who is the problem here. And then they often will invoke the court of public opinion of people who do not know the full story so that they can lambast you all over the internet about how truly ungrateful you are. Let me tell you right now that baby girl right here is a villain in some ways. I don't perform gratefulness. If I do not like the thing that you did, if I do not want the thing that you did, I will not be mean about it, but I will let you know that I do not need this thing that you did. Instead, I need this thing. I'll give you an example real quick, spilling a little bit of my own tea here. My husband leaves the house every day at a certain time. And so there was a time where he was making me breakfast before he left, which is so sweet, except that I didn't want it. So it went from feeling sweet to feeling like obligatory breakfast that I now have to eat cold. Because while he may leave the house at, let's just throw a time on it. Say he leaves the house at 7:00 in the morning. I don't go downstairs to do downstairs things until 9, which means that those eggs sat on the table for 2 hours until I went to go meet those eggs downstairs that I did not want and that I did not ask for, which are also outside of the scope of what I want for myself. I don't want to eat cold eggs in the morning. So is it a thoughtful gesture? Sure. Is it a useful gesture? Sure. Is it a gesture that is thoughtful of my timing and what I desire? Not really. Which means that the conversation with my husband went a little something like this. I thank you for thinking of me. I love that you think of me and that you want to make sure that I am well fed and cared for and that I have one less thing to worry about in the morning. I appreciate that. And I don't want to eat cold eggs. So I would appreciate it if you did not make me eggs for breakfast in the morning. As a matter of fact, you don't need to make me breakfast in the morning. Instead, it would be helpful if you made sure there was fruit in the house all the time so that I could have fruit of my choice and yogurt for breakfast. You see what I did there? You can acknowledge that someone has done something for you. I am acknowledging that you are seeing me or that you have done this service for me or that you've done this thing, and I appreciate that. And I don't want it, right? It doesn't really make you a villain, but it does when you are expected to be a performer of gratefulness. And I'm not going to read this part of the book because I feel it's a little bit inappropriate, but it's in chapter 5, Sex and Self-Esteem, where I talk about this idea that our job is to perform and that you are not allowed to technically have desires of your own outside of the desires that your partner has for you, which can make it very difficult then for you to have a conversation about the thing that they're doing for you that is not for you. The thing that they're doing for you is actually about them. It makes them feel good and big and like they did something. and that they perform this grand task, while they also at the same time get to ignore the fact that you have said exactly what it is that you want or need from them. They have to perform a good boyfriend, a good husband, a good partner, but they don't have to be your good husband, your good lover, your good partner. So they are generic. And you need something a little bit more on brand, sweetie. So they want you to perform gratefulness. And for them, they are doing useless acts to prove their worth. Because that's also sometimes what's happening. Sometimes the performance of the act is already a misnomer, but sometimes it's also because they don't know who they are without the performance. So they are trying to solve your every problem. They are trying to anticipate your every need while doing a really great job of ignoring what it is that you've actually said and what you've actually asked for. This it does no good here, right? Because they're also inadvertently recasting your character as one who is ungrateful because you do not desire the thing that they have given. It doesn't make you ungrateful to tell somebody that you see the efforts that they placed and that you would like them to redirect said efforts. Someone doing anything except the thing that you asked is also communicating something to you. And usually that thing that it's communicating is that you don't matter, not nearly as much as their ego that they want you to stroke does. So, what do we do from here? What we do is we have conversations. You need to make it uncomfortable every single time. Too many of us are performing gratefulness for our partners, over apologizing for the fact that you don't like the thing that they did. And you can watch this video here on over apologizing, but the consistent apologizing, shrinking yourself, changing up who you are so that you can be in a relationship with them and their self-esteem, concern, and yourself is a lot, right? You are in a relationship with someone who requires you to pat them on the head and tell them that they did such a great job when they didn't. That is exhausting. And I think that it might be not just too much to do, but it might actually be costing you more than what you're letting on. So use the script that I used where you have an intent impact conversation with them. What was the intention behind your action? The impact for me is that I eat cold eggs every morning, and that makes me feel kind of sad. Is there something else that we can figure out that you can do to show me that you love me and that you care for me that would better suit me? Or even being able to say, like, hey, this thing that you did, while I can appreciate that you think of me, it feels like you're also using this as a way to ignore me. That's the impact here. Can you tell me what your intention was? Because I've asked for this thing, and this thing, and all of these things went completely undone, and these requests went ignored. But this thing that I don't even like, that I thought by now that you would know me, that's the thing that you did. Can we have a conversation about that? There is a way for you to have the conversations that you need to have. Intent, impact, and sometimes just letting them know that you appreciate the thought, you appreciate the gesture, but you don't like the execution of the thing. It's time for us to be the villain a little bit more. And the villain tends to speak up about what doesn't work for them. So, time to get to work. All right, you are the bee's knees. I am Dr. Donna. This is the Daily Donna, and where we have those conversations with a therapeutic edge. I want you to hit me in the comments, friend, and let me know. Have you been in a space where somebody told you that you were ungrateful, despite the fact that you didn't even want that thing that they gave you? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you when? Tomorrow. Hopefully with less sun.